And we are
Hello,
fine. How
participants.
are you?
Yes, other participants, may I get the reply? How are you all?
Ma'am, fine. Ma'am, how are you?
Yes, I'm also fine. What about your investment classes? Is there any doubts you have?
No, ma'am. It's good.
Okay, everything is clear now up to yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so we can start. Yes, we can start with a new day. There's a fourth day of our investment management. So, Padbinder sir, could you please present the screen?
And is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible. Yes, that's visible, sir. Thank you, sir. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth day of investment management. Today we are going to uh, study about the primary market and secondary market. Okay. So yesterday you have studied there is a capital market, and inside the capital market there is two other markets, that is primary and secondary market. Okay. And anyone knows what are the dealings in primary and secondary market? Can anyone answer me? Hello, participants. Okay, I'll call the names. Darshita ma'am. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, ma'am. Could you please answer me?
I really don't have that much idea about primary market and secondary market.
Okay.
Yeah, like they
Let's
are
give
part
it try.
of capital
Yeah.
markets. I know that they're part of capital markets.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So we can study about primary market. First of all, you will hear the name primary market. Okay. So as the name suggests, it is the first market. Okay, where we are going. Do you know this capital market? We are in this primary and secondary market. We are dealing with some stocks and all. Okay, so in primary market, it is a market where we enter, or firstly, the issue of the stocks are happened. Okay, so in a primary market, all the securities are created for the first time. That where the investors came to purchase. Okay, if a new company is there, or existing company is there, they need to expand its business, and they issue some more new shares in the primary market. Okay, a secondary market, we will study it afterwards. Now the primary market, about primary market, all the new securities are issued in this market through our stock exchange. Okay, and to raise capital. Okay, as you all know, the issue of capital, issue of shares or bonds are for the raising of capital. So here, all the new securities are issued for raising the capital. Okay, so in this market, how the transactions take place? There are major three participants are there. First one is a company, then investors, and an underwriter. Okay, a company is the institution which issues shares or bonds for raising their capital. Okay, then the investors are the second participants, those who without the transactions are complete. So the investors are the main thing who buy the shares that has been listed by this company. Okay, then an underwriter. Underwriter is a mediator between the company and investors. Okay. Then when the company issues security in the primary market, it will come from the initial public offering, that's IPO. Okay. So whenever a company issues new shares or new securities in the primary market, it comes under the initial public offering. Okay. And the sale price of each new securities is determined by the underwriter. Okay, and it is not concerned with any financial institutions. Okay, Then, not only the determination of the price, the underwriter facilitates all the new issue offerings, and it has the right to monitor all the dealings, all the activities in the IPO. Okay. So, any doubts on this? Okay, we can go. Then the primary market is a part of the main capital market. It deals all the issuance and any sales of equity backed securities to any investors directly by the issuer. There is directly issue of shares or securities happen. Okay. Then investors buy these securities firstly. Okay. And this creates like that. Okay. And anyone have any doubt in primary market? Hello, may I get a Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Ma'am.
Okay, may I get a response?
Yes,
Anyone
ma'am.
has
You're
any
audible.
doubt? No, ma'am. Okay. Then, sir, can you move to the next slide? Hello, sir. Could you please move to the next slide? Okay, thank you, sir. So, there are some functions of primary market. Okay, basically there are many functions, but the main functions are three main functions. That first one is new issue offer, then services. You can look at the function, that is new issue offer. Primary market organizes fresh issue or fresh securities traded in any other exchange earlier. That is the new issue. Fresh issue will be issued or issued or listed in the primary market. So it facilitates the new issue offerings. Okay, and due to this main reason, this market is called new issue market. Primary market is called new issue market because of this, because the issues or the securities issued here is not. Then organizing any new issue offers, it involves the detailed assessment of the project of the companies. Okay, and the financial arrangements for the purpose of consideration for the expansion, equity, then liquidity ratio, debt equity ratio, will consider for this issue. Okay, and because of the new issue listed in the market, new issue offer or new issue market. Okay, this is the main function of primary market. Then the second function is underwriting services. Okay, when the underwriter comes, it is an essential aspect where we offer a new issue or new security. It is an essential aspect where we need the underwriting services. So in this role, in a primary marketplace, it includes all the unsold shares. It cannot manage all the sellers required many number of shares from the public or many number of investors from the public. So it cannot manage all this. So a financial institution, that's called underwriter. Okay, and it will come for mediator between the company and the investors. Okay, and this is the underwriting services function done by the primary market. Then the third function is distribution of new issues. Okay, whenever a new issue arises, it is distributed in primary market. Okay, so any distribution initiated with any new securities or new prospectus of a company, it invites the public from a large number to buy the new issue, because after buying these new issues or new securities by the investors, the company can raise funds for their expansion or for any other needs. Okay, so these are the three main functions that is performed by primary market. Okay, anyone has any doubt in this? Okay, then we can move to the next. The types of issuance of primary market. Okay, so there are many types of issuance by the primary market. There are 5 types. First one is public issue, then private placement, then preferential issue, qualified institutional placement, rights and bond issue. Okay, so first one is public issue. As the name suggests, it is a public. Okay, it's for everyone. It's for common people, and this is the most common method of issuing securities by the primary market. Whenever a company needs money or a company needs funds for raising, it will issue shares or list shares in the primary market through this, okay, new issuance. So it is mainly done by public offering, initial public offering, IPO. You might have heard of this initial public offering, IPO launch in every week or every month. Okay, so this is the public issue. It is issued to the public, not for any persons or any institutions or anything like that. It's for everyone. Okay, then next type is private placement. Yeah, you can see the name suggests it is private. It's for privately. It's for private. Okay, then when a company offers its securities or shares to some private people, like a small group of investors, that placement or that issue is called private placement. Okay, that securities will be include bonds or any stocks or any other securities. Okay, so the investors can buy. The investors or this private group of people may be individuals or any institutions like that. It may include anything like that. So the private placement, it is another way of issuance or primary market, issuance of the primary market only to some group of people. Okay, it's easier than other public offers, because in this we will aim only at private people, only a small group of people, and we are offering those to them. So it's much easier than the public offering. Okay, then the third issuance is, or third type is preferential issue. Then we all know that preference shareholders, right? Preference shareholders they have some preference before we share our profit or we share our dividends to our press. So here also preferential issue means we are giving some preference to the existing holders. Okay, we are giving some preferential rights or preferential issue to some of the companies or some of the institutions or some individuals. Okay, so these issues, when a shareholder's position of any preferential to receive any difference before another shareholders are paid. So they also have preferential issue. Okay, then next issue or next type of issuance is qualified institutional placement. That means this is another kind of a private placement. Okay, where some companies are listed or issue securities in the form of equity shares, or it will be like partly or wholly, or there are some other debentures, convertible debentures like that. So it will be purchased by a qualified institutional buyer. Okay, these qualified institutional buyers are investors or any financial knowledge or expertise. They are investing in the capital market. Okay, they can include foreign venture capitals or alternative investment fund institutions like that. Okay, then the last type is rights and bonus issue. So there are some more issues. These are the important ones. So the right and bonus issue, that means some existing shareholders or existing holders have some rights to get some more shares. Okay, when in the primary market some rights issues or bonus issues are issued or listed, the companies issued these securities to the existing investors and offering them to purchase our securities in a price that is predetermined. Okay, or some more allotment or additional free shares will be that in case of bonus issue that will be provided to the existing investors. Okay, anyone has any doubt in this type of? Anyone has any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No,
Okay,
ma'am.
then we can move. Okay, thank you for response. And Sarbinder sir, could you please? Yeah, thank you. So then comes the initial public offering. Anyone, could you please read this for me? Anyone? Okay, I will call the name. Barsha Shukla. Barsha ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Could you please read first
Yes, ma'am.
first point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Initial public offering. An initial public offering refers to the process of offering shares of a private corporate to the public in new stock insurance.
Okay. In initial public offering, as I said, first. Sorry. It refers to the process of offering the shares to a private corporation to the public as a new stock issuance. It will be issued as like new issuance. Whenever the new issue is coming, it will be comes under the initial public offering. Okay, IPO. And then the second point, Rishil Kamal sir, could you? Rishil Kamal sir, could you please read the second point? Hello? Okay. Shravani ma'am, could you please read the second point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Companies must meet requirements by exchange and the SEBI to hold an initial public offering.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Then the second point explains that the companies must meet the requirements by the exchanges and the SEBI to hold an initial public offering. Do you know about SEBI? It's an institution that controls all the stock exchange activities. So these companies which are listing or which are issuing should must meet all the requirements, all the rules and regulations. They should abide by the stock exchanges and SEBI. And after that, they can hold an initial public offering. Okay. Then next point, Alekya ma'am, could you please read that next point? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shiva Tosha ma'am, could you please read the next point?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please read the third point, sir?
Yes, ma'am. IPOs provide companies with an opportunity to obtain capital by offering shares through the primary market.
Okay. In IPO, it provides all the companies with an opportunity, okay? That is to obtain capital by offering their shares to the primary market. In the primary market, what happens? The companies issue their new issues or new securities. By that, they can raise their capital or they can raise their fund for expansion or for any other needs. Okay, that's the third point. Yes, Rishil Kamal sir, could you please read the next point?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Companies hire investment banks to market, cause demand, and set the IPO price and date and more.
Okay. In the initial public offering, the companies hire an investment bank so that they can control or they can decide all the market or demand or set the IPO price, date, and all. So for all these activities, these companies hire or these companies get assistance from the investment banks. So then price band of IPO is there. What do you mean by price band? It is a value setting method in all the IPOs where the seller indicates an upper and lower limit where we could able to buy that. Okay, there will be an upper and lower limit, and where the investors can buy or bid that amount. Okay, that's a price band of IPO. And Parvinder sir, could you move to the next slide? Okay, now comes the advantages of primary market. Okay, so this is a cost-effective way to raise capital. In this primary market now, all the companies can raise their capital at a low cost. Whenever we give a prospectus and invitations to all the companies and all the investors, it will make all the paperwork and it will increase time, and it will use all the it's a cost will increase whenever we go to the paperwork and all. It will increase the cost and all, and also the time. So in this IPO or primary market, it's an effective way to raise our capital through a cost-effective manner. Here, it provides high liquidity, and also it can be sold or it can be sold in the secondary market whenever the investors need. So this is a cost-effective way for the company to raise their capital. Okay. Then the next advantage is less chances of price manipulation. Whenever there is a issue of shares or issue of securities occur, there is a chance of price manipulation will be there. So here there is no price manipulation. That's not like that. There will be less chances. For the price manipulation, there will be less chances because this usually occurs by deflating or inflating their security price. So here it will not occur. So here we will get a less chance of price manipulation. Okay. Then the third advantage is it offers diversification. Diversification will decrease our risk, right? So we can invest or allocate our funds in our diversified securities, so that our risk will also decrease and we can invest in many of the avenues. Okay, this is the diversification. I think these advantages all are clear with this. Then we can move to the next, that is disadvantages. Not only the advantages are there are some disadvantages for the IPO. First one is limited information available to the investors. Due to the IPO and listing of the prices and all, there will be limited information will be there for our investors. So if they are seeing the prices and all, they will not be ready to buy that. And that's also a disadvantage. If we are providing more information about the company and all those things, the investors can refer to that. That's a disadvantage for the IPO. And next one is no historical trading data will be there because each stock is exposed for the very risk. So about this, there is no historical data will be there in the primary market because it is an IPO and shares will be issuing for the first time and no historical data will be there. But whenever in secondary market, we can see that the historical prices and all we can analyze from that. So in our new market, in primary market, we can't find any such thing. So it is also disadvantages of primary market. And anyone has any doubt in this? Okay, then we can move to primary markets in India. Okay, there are some primary markets that is existing in India. And in India, all the markets, not only primary market, all the markets, primary and secondary markets are regulated and are controlled by SEBI. Anyone, could you please tell me the full form of SEBI? Hello, anyone? Paishali, Ramya ma'am? Hello? Okay.
Hello.
Samruddha.
Ma'am.
Hello. Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes, could you please tell me the full form of SEBI?
Securities Exchange Board of India.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So in India, the primary market and the secondary market are controlled and are regulated by the Securities Exchange Board of India. Okay, and in SEBI, it has many companies listed. Okay, there are also many of large number of norms for issuing securities in the primary market as well as for the secondary market. So according to this strictly rules and regulations, all the companies will abide this, and by this, the Securities Exchange Board of India controls all the securities or all the securities markets of the companies. Okay, so in this primary market also has the government to carry their disinvestment program through this primary market issuance and all. Okay, anyone has any doubt in this? Anyone have? Okay, then we can move to the next secondary market. Radvindra sir, could you please change the slide? Okay, secondary market. Anyone answer me? What do you mean by a secondary market? Hello? From the picture there, you can tell me. Okay, Shravani ma'am, could you answer me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Where investors buy and sell securities, they already like stock market.
Yes, ma'am, you are right, ma'am. In secondary market, what happens now? You can see in the picture. There's a stock exchange is there, okay? Where it will control all the fund or the investment bank. Where the investment banks will help the facilitation of trade in shares and bonds. Okay, there will be already issued shares will be there, stock will be there, other debentures, bonds, every securities will be there, and we can buy from there. Okay, this market we can buy already listed or already traded stocks. Okay, stocks or any other securities we can buy from here. So secondary market, as the name suggests, the secondary market is the secondary where we can get all those stocks that has been listed in the primary market and has been traded in the primary market. Okay, and this is a market where existing securities of every companies are traded. So in stock market, shares and bonds, other securities will be there. It will be bought and sold. Okay, not only buying happens, selling is also happens. But in primary market, only buying is there. For the investors, only buying is there. And in secondary market, the investors can buy and sell their already traded securities. Okay. In secondary market, it assists all the operations for the primary market. Okay. And it provides the liquidity and marketability for other securities that are issued in the primary market. Whenever an issue or any shares or any stocks or securities are issued in the primary market, that's the first time. Okay, and for the second time, it will be in the secondary market where it can be sell and bought. Okay, so Bindu sir, could you please move to the next slide? Okay, thank you, sir. So there is a definition of secondary market. It's a market where the existing securities of the companies are traded. Okay. In this stock market, all the shares and bonds and all the securities are bought and sold. This is the definition, or this is the basic, simple explanation of the secondary market. You can note it down. Okay. I hope this is clear with you. Then we can go with the next slide. Sir, okay. Then Stock Exchange comes. Stock Exchange Act. About the Stock Exchange Act, that is from 1956, it explains a stock exchange as any body of any individual, whether it is incorporated or not. It will be constituted for the purpose of assisting, regulating or controlling business of buying and dealing in securities. So this is the definition given by the Securities Contract Act 1956. It explains that the stock exchange is a body, any body of individuals where any incorporated or constituted, incorporated or not, it will be constituted for the purpose of all the shares and securities of the business that will be bought and sold. And it will be controlling or regulating. It has some many rules and regulations are there. All the buying and selling would be according to that. Okay, whenever you you go to stock market and buying and selling, there are some terms and conditions. Okay, whenever you accept that, you will get entered to the stock market. And before you do that, you can read all the explanations there. What are the terms and conditions there? Okay, so that you can understand there are some rules and regulations that to be accepted by the investors for entering into the stock exchange. So there are some members of stock exchange. It's called stock brokers or share brokers. And there are some regulations or rules so that a person can become a member of stock exchange. First one is he must be a citizen of India. Only citizens of India can be a member of stock exchange. Okay. And the second one is he is 21 years of age. One who is of 21 years of age can enter into the stock exchange. Then he is not adjudged bankrupt or insolvent. He must be solvent or he must be creditworthiness. So he must not be bankrupt or any insolvent. They can't enter into the stock market. Then next rule is not a declared defaulter by any other stock exchange. Any other stock exchange explain or declare him as defaulter or any other cases or any other complaints about him is existent there, he can't enter into the stock market. Okay. Then he has obtained a certificate of registration of SEBI. He should get a certificate of registration of the SEBI. Then only he can enter to the stock market. Sorry, stock exchange. Then he has at least 2 years experience in the field. Whenever the person have 2 years of experience in the field, they can enter into the stock exchange. Okay. Then he has a minimum net worth and working capital as fixed by the stock exchange. The stock exchange has some rules and regulations, and under that it will explain that the person should be having some fixed stock or fixed capital, working capital should be there for their business so that they can enter into the business. So these are the rules set by the stock exchange for entering into the stock exchange. Okay. Then we can go to the next slide. Arvind sir, could you please move? Yeah. There comes investors and speculators. Okay. Do you know who is an investor? Anyone can answer? Who is an investor? It's a simple question. Anyone can answer me? Vaishali Ramya ma'am, could you please answer me? Who is investors and speculators? Hello? Hello? Okay, I will answer. Investors and speculators. This is a simple question. Investors. Who is an investor? This is a person who buys securities or invest for earning income. Right. Investor is a person who invests his money or his fund for earning income. And speculators is a person who buys securities with a view to sell in the future. I think you have already studied in this previous classes. So the investor and speculators, investor who is investing only for intention to get or earn money in future, and the speculator is one who thinks that in future he would get a profit or he could sell the securities so that he could get or he could earn a profit. Okay, that's the difference between investors and speculators. And their main main aims are listed below. First one is to earn income. Okay, so for the earning income, the investors or speculators invest their money in the securities. They will buy the security for what? For what you all are people buying your securities or buying stocks or buying shares, bonds and all for earning income, right? So the first point itself says that if an investor or the speculators is there, they invest their money or they buy the securities for an intention to earn the income in future. Okay? Okay, no issues, ma'am. No issue, Vaishali, Ramya, ma'am. Then, second aim is to sell them in future at a point. Okay? Whenever someone buys a share or stock or any of the securities, he has some intention to sell it in future. Not only to sell that and get a profit. Okay? Whenever we buy the securities, we have a view or we have an aim to sell them in future at a profit, not for loss. Okay? That's the second point. Then third point is there must be appreciation of their capital. Okay, there should be an interest of the investor. If I am investing 1,000 rupees, I have a point or I have a aim to increase that or appreciation of my capital that I have invested. Not only if I am investing 1,000 rupees, I should get 1,000 rupees after 10 months. No, if I am investing 1,000 rupees, I should get 1,200 rupees in future, or 1,500 or 2,000 in future. That's my aim. So for appreciation of their capital, the investors and speculators invest their funds. Okay, then retain their holdings. That means we have a holding. We have a holding of 1 lakh rupees in our hand. There is no meaning for that. If I am earning something or I am increasing my income of 1 lakh rupees to 1,20,000 or 50,000, there will be some meaning. Or I am increasing that, not only holding that in my hand. So there should be a retain their holdings. Okay, there should be my holding should be retained there, and it will also increase. That's a retain our holdings. Then delivery of scrips. This means do not give or take any delivery of scrips, but make profit through our price differential. If I am buying 1,000 shares for 10 rupees now, and tomorrow I will sell that in 12 rupees. So for making profit also I am investing, or the investors and speculators have a point or have an aim for making profit in future or tomorrow if they are selling that. Okay, that's all about the investors and speculators. Now we can move to the next types of speculators. There are two types of speculators are there. As I earlier told that speculators are those who buy securities with a view to selling them in a future for profit. So there are two types of speculators. I think you are familiar with these two, bull and bear. Bull, we can look at the bull. Bull is a person or bull is an investor speculator who buys their shares expecting it will rise in future. Okay, and they will sell their share for a profit in future date. Okay, they are the potential seller. They are called the potential seller because they buy the shares for selling tomorrow in a profit. Okay, share market it's said to be bullish when it is nominated by the people who expect it will rise the price in future. Okay, so we can see one example when bull asks a broker if Y is a bull and he asks the broker to buy 100 shares of X Limited. Okay, X Limited is a company and it's going going with a profit, and the bull asked his broker to buy 100 shares, and the price is 10 rupees each share. Okay, so that the broker execute his deal, and when the time of settlement, the market price of the X Limited shares goes up to 15 rupees. So it was 10 rupees before, and now the settlement time it will come to 15 rupees. So the bull instruct broker to sell them. Okay, so the difference will be 5 rupees, right? Earlier it was 10 rupees. Now the settlement it increased up to 15 rupees. So the 5 rupees will be the profit. Like 5 into 100, 500. 500 will be the profit of the bull. So he can sell his shares in the future, like for 5 rupees profit. Okay. Then bear. Bear is also important type of speculators. Okay. Bear is a person who sells shares with the expectation of buying them in future at a reduced price. Where the bull was a seller, here this bear thinks what? He can buy that shares in future at a reduced price. Okay. He is a potential buyer, where the bull was potential seller and bear is a potential buyer. He always expects there will be fall in price in future. If I am selling my 10 rupees 10 rupees shares, tomorrow it will decrease, and then I can buy it in a decreased price. So we can look at one example. The bear asked his broker to sell 100 shares of Y Limited. Okay. The bear asked his broker to sell 100 shares. He has 100 shares of Y Limited with him, and he instruct his broker to sell them. Okay. At the time of settlement of transaction, the price was 80 rupees. Okay. Sorry. The bear asked his broker to sell 100 shares of Y Limited, and while the settlement, the price was 80 rupees. So the broker should purchase the share, and the difference will be 20 rupees. Okay. When the broker was selling the shares, it was 100 rupees, and then it went to 80 rupees. It decreased to 80 rupees. So the difference is 20 rupees, and the broker or the bear has got 20 rupees discount. Okay. So 20 into 100, it will be 2000. 2000 rupees will be reduced, or 2000 rupees will be as like discount for the bear. That's all about bull and bear. Anyone has any doubt in this bull and bear? Okay, I think no doubt is there. And I will tell one more topic. One more topic is this, online trading. Okay. As we all know that today we are all familiar with the online trading and all. Everyone have a Demat account with them. So we can go through that. What is an online trading? Okay. This is a method of buying and selling of securities through online. That we know. Online trading, as the name suggests, we know that it is a buying and selling of the securities through online using an internet. Okay. And it is developed and shifted from the broker's office to home or office. Like earlier, it was like we have to go to the broker's office and we have to go with all the paperwork and registration and all. After some days, we will get registered to the stock market and all. We can start exchanging, or we can start our these things, buying and selling. Okay. So now it has been changed. With one click, we can not more than 5 minutes. We can take Demat account, right? We can sit in our office or we can sit in our home and we can open a Demat account within 5 minutes. Okay. Now more formalities are there. Only there are free Demat accounts are also available. We can open a Demat account within minutes. So it was been changed from the paperwork to one click from our mobile. Okay. So investors can trade the securities through the website without the intervention of broker. Earlier it was like the broker should intervene and broker should tell which one is good for or which one is having higher profits and all. But nowadays we can also analyze. We can analyze through our any applications or any website. We can ourselves analyze and we can determine or we can decide which stock I should invest or which trading I should do. That we can decide with ourselves. Okay, this is a change of online trading from the paperwork to one click of the mobile. So online trading is also known as internet trading. So for doing this online trading, the investors all need a bank account and a demat account. Okay. So for this, what will you do? There is a user ID is there and password will be there. So we can using this password and user ID, we can start our trading. So there are some formalities formalities for starting a demat account. First of all, you should know what's a demat account. Okay, demat account, or it is also called dematerialized account. It is an account which provides all the facilities of holding a shares and securities in electronic format. There you can see your shares and stocks in an electronic format. Okay. During this online trading, shares are bought and held in a demat account. So in demat account, all the shares are bought and sold in a dematerialized form, not in a physical form. Okay. So it holds all the investment and individuals makes a share. If anyone is making share or buying share or selling share, it will be in a dematerialized form. Okay. So in India, we have to choose how to open a demat account. In any application, we know Grow application is there, then Angel Broking is there. These all are the famous brokers are there. Okay, so you can using these applications, you can just I think within 5 minutes you can open a demat account. Okay, after opening this, the documents needed are one photograph you will need and one photograph of your passbook, front side of passbook, and then your identity card, any of your identity card, any PAN card or driving license or Aadhaar number, anyone using this you can open. And one more is there, you can your signature, your scanned signature also you can use. By using these all documents, you can easily open a demat account. And after this, you can start your trading. Okay, I think by using these, you can get first 1 year. There will be no charges. Brokerage charges is not there while you are making free demat accounts. So that there will be no charges are there. You can use your demat account 1 year for free. So that's all for today. If you want to open a demat account or you have any doubts are there, you can message me, okay? Or you can ask in the group or sorry. Anyone has any doubts for today's classes? Anyone has any doubts? Respond, guys.
I think so. No, ma'am. Maybe.
No, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Then thank you all. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.